श्री वाहिगुरु जी। श्री नानक अंगद गुरु अमरदास सुख कंद रामदास अर्जन गुरु वर श्री हर गोबिंद। हरि राय हर कृष्ण गुर तेग बहादुर चंद। दसवें गोबिंद सिंह गुरु नमो चरण और बंद। जिसमें अमृत ज्ञान है माणक भगत वराग। श्री गुरु ग्रंथ साहिब उदद बंदों कर अनुराग। सो कहो टल गुर सेविया अहनिस सहज सुभाए। दर्शन परसया गुरु का जन्म मरण दुख जाए। सतनाम श्री वाहिगुरु साहिब जीओ। सलोक दखणे महला पंजवा। लगड़ियां पिरियन पेखंदियां ना तिप्पियां। हब मजाहू सोतणी बयान डिठो कोय। महला पंजवा। कथड़ियां संताह ते सुखाऊ पंदियां। नानक लदड़ियां तिनाहा जिना भाग मथाहड़ा। महला पंजवा। डूंगर जल थला भूम बना फल कंदरा। पाताला आगास पूरन हब घटा। नानक पेख जियो इकत सूत परोतिया। पौड़ी। हर जी माता हर जी पिता हर जी ओ प्रतिपालक। हर जी मेरी सार करे हम हर के बालक। सहजे सहज खिलाएदा नहीं करदा आलक। औगण को न चितारदा गढ़ सेती लायक। मोह मंगा सोई देवदा हर पिता सुखदायक। ज्ञान रास नाम धन सौंप्योन इस सौदे लायक। सांझी गुर नाल बहालिया सर्ब सुख पायक। मैं नालों कदे न विछड़ा हर पिता सबना गल्लां लायक। सांझी गुर नाल बहालिया सर्ब सुख पायक। मैं नालों कदे न विछड़ा हर पिता सबना गल्ला लायक। वाहिगुरु जी का खालसा वाहिगुरु जी की फतेह। कहाँ बुद्ध प्रभ तुच्छ हमारी बरन सकै महिमा जो तिहारी। हम ना सख्त कर सिफत हम ना सख्त कर सिफत तुम्हारी। आप लिहो तुम कथा सुधारी। सतनाम श्री वाहिगुरु साहिब जीओ। एक ओंकार सतनाम करता पुरख निरभਉ निर्वैर अकाल मूरत अजूनी सपं गुर प्रसाद। सलोक सहस्कृति महला पहला। पढ़ पुस्तक संध्या बादं सिल पूजस बगल समादं मुख झूठ विभूखण सारं त्रैपाल तिहाल विचारं गलमाला तिलक लिलाटं दोय तोती वस्त्र कपाटं जो जानस ब्रह्मं कर्मं सब फूकट निश्चय कर्मं कौ नानक निश्चय ध्यावै बिन सतगुर बाट न पावै। पढ़ पुस्तक संध्या बादं। वाहिगुरु जी का खालसा वाहिगुरु जी की फतेह। परम सम्मान योग गुरु स्वरूप गुरु खालसा साध संगत जी, श्री गुरु ग्रंथ साहिब जी महाराज निरंकार सच्चे पातशाह नारायण कलाधार इस जग में परवरियो। श्री गुरु ग्रंथ साहिब जी महाराज जी गॉड इनखान ऑन दिस अर्थ। बाणी मुखो उचारिए होए रुशनाई मिटे अंधियारा। Even though we've come at a saddened time, we've come at a sorrow time where we're experiencing the loss of Bhai Jagraj Singh ji. Bhai Jagraj Singh was a Gursikh that dedicated the best part of his life to Gursikhi da prachar, Gurmat da prachar, seva for the Khalsa Panth. Shri Guru Gobind Singh Sahib Ji Maharaj Ji says, Sev kari inhi ki bhavat aur ki sev suhat na ji ko. It only pleases me if one serves the Khalsa. That is what is pleasing to my heart. And for that reason, Bhai Jagraj Singh Ji fulfilled the purpose of his human life, this life that he led as a pracharak, a man with a mission, a Gursikh that we all greatly respect, and we are sorrowed by his loss. But Sad Sangat Ji, Gurbani and Sadguru Sahib Ji encourages us, and Gurmat always tells us to develop our emotions, our attachment, our sorrow into vairag, into longing for the Almighty, into longing for Akal Purkh Vaheguru. Any relationship on earth, whether it is of the mother and the son, whether it is of the husband and the wife, whether it is of a pracharak and the Guru Sangat, all of these relationships, Sad Sangat Ji, should mimic. They're a microcosm of our relationship with the true Guru. Mata te putra di priti Sikh nu Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj Ji de naal bhagti di jaach sikhaundi a. Pati patni da jehड़ा रिश्ता है, दंपति दा रिश्ता जो आ पति सती दा, वो जीव स्त्री ते पति परमेश्वर दे मिलाप दा सिक्ख्या वाचक है। इसी तरीके दे नाल उपदेशक जो हिंदू सनातन धर्म दे विच उन्हां नूं गुरु करके जाणदे सन, साडे धर्म विच गुरु एक श्री गुरु ग्रंथ साहिब जी महाराज जी है, पर इन्हां दा उपदेश वंडण वाले सैकड़े उपदेशक प्रचारक जो उन्हां दा रिश्ता संगत दे नाल आ, the teachings that they gave of Sri Guru Granth Sahib Ji Maharaj Ji to the Sangat, they will alleviate us, they will elevate us, they will redeem us, and they will salvate us eventually. It is the tradition of the Khalsa when any Gursikh Amritari departs, a Sehaj Path is commenced, a Sehaj Path that is done in 10 days. Gursikhan da Dussehra hunda ya, aur Brahmanan di 13ਵੀਂ 12ਵੀਂ 11ਵੀਂ ਆਦਿਕ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਆ। Sri Guru Gobind Singh Sahib Ji Maharaj Ji created the Dussehra for the Khalsa. That is a Sehaj Path lasting 10 days. Hindus believed, or Brahmins believed, that in 13 days of worship they will be redeemed. If you were a smaller or a lower caste, then you would have to take more time. So Sri Guru Gobind Singh Sahib Ji Maharaj Ji, who created the Khalsa as their own form, Khalsa Miro Roop Hai Khas, blessed us with a tradition of Mritak Sanskar, and Mritak Sanskar tells us that Khalsa should have a Sehaj Path performed in 10 days. Alongside this, there has been a tradition in Gursikhs from the time of our Gurus to commence Katha in this period. So this Katha from Seek to Inspire is not only for Bhai Jagraj Singh ji, their family, the team of Basics of Sikhi, but all of the Guru Sangat, because Bhai Sahib is someone that we all loved, respected, learnt from. Sri Guru Amar Das Sahib Ji Maharaj Ji, before they left the universe, they gave teachings. They performed their own ardas before they went onto the funeral pyre. Like Sri Guru Gobind Singh Sahib Ji Maharaj Ji at Sachkhand Shri Hajur Sahib, who performed their ardas and then sat on Bir Asan on the pyre of sandalwood. Sri Guru Amar Das Sahib Ji Maharaj Ji too performed their own ardas. Sri Guru Arjan Dev Ji Maharaj Ji visited Goindwal Sahib. Goindwal Sahib was the place where Guru Amar Das Sahib Ji lived for a great proportion of their life, where they created Bauli Sahib. At Sri Goindwal Sahib, when Sri Guru Amar Das Sahib Ji departed from this world, Baba Sundar Ji was only 17. Guru Arjan Dev Ji, when they visited Goindwal Sahib, they conversed with Baba Sundar Ji and they asked them, what was it like to witness the passing of the third Guru? What was that like? What did you see? And Baba Sundar Ji recorded what he saw, the passing of the third Guru, Sri Guru Amar Das Sahib Ji Maharaj Ji, in a composition in Sri Guru Granth Sahib Ji Maharaj Ji, which Sri Guru Arjan Dev Ji Maharaj Ji then recited and had Bhai Gurdas Sahib Ji scribed in Sri Guru Granth Sahib Ji. It is known as a Bani called Ram Kali Sad. When the Bhog of the Sehaj Path happens for a Mritak Sanskar, for when someone dies, the Bhog is done at Ram Kali Sad. As Anand Sahib is read at all other occasions, Ram Kali Sad is also read especially at funerals when the Sehaj Path of a Gursikh Mritak Sanskar, Gursikh da Dusera hunda hai. Sad Sangat Ji, in the Bani of Ram Kali Sad, Sri Guru Amar Das Sahib Ji Maharaj Ji gave great teachings. One of those teachings was when all of their family was crying, they were sorrowed and saddened at the loss of the third Guru. Guru Amar Das Sahib Ji Maharaj Ji told them, Mat main piche koi rovsi so main mool na paya. No one is to cry after my departure, for that does not please me. And they asked Sadhguru Sahib Ji, if we shouldn't cry, if we shouldn't be sad, then what should we do? How can we as humans comprehend this separation? Dukh vichoda ek dukh pukh. Vichoda in itself is an anguish, is a separation without end. It is painful. Guru Amar Das Sahib Ji Maharaj Ji replied, Mit paije mit big said jis mit di paj pave. If you have a friend and you see that friend being honored, if you are a true friend, you will be happy for that friend. And if you are envious, jealous, or your friendship is flawed, then you will be sad for that friend. And Guru Amar Das Sahib Ji said to the Sangat, you are all my friends. And if you are true friends, mit paije mit big se, you as my friends will become happy on seeing this honor. Because this body that carries all its limitations and restraints has now become freed. I've merged with Akal Purkh Vaheguru Jyon Jal Main Jal Aaye Khatana. I've merged with the ocean. Sri Guru Amar Das Sahib Ji Maharaj Ji encouraged all of the Sangat, Jis mit di paj pave. For those of you that are pleased on seeing my body becoming free and my soul uniting with Vaheguru, please be happy for me. That is a teaching for all of us Gursikhs, that in times like this we shouldn't cry, as to the best of our ability. Secondly, Sad Sangat Ji, Sri Guru Amar Das Sahib Ji Maharaj Ji was asked that what should we do now? How are we to celebrate, if you're telling us to celebrate your life, how should we celebrate your departure from earth? And Sri Guru Amar Das Sahib Ji Maharaj Ji gave their final teaching. Ante Sadguru bolya me picho kareo. Ante Sadguru bolya, Sri Guru Amar Das Sahib Ji Maharaj Ji spoke. Me picho kirtan kareo nirbaan jiyo. Keso Gopal Pandit Sadeo Har Har Katha Pade Puran jiyo. Kirtan kariyo, come together and perform kirtans, have Ran Subais, because this kirtan will redeem you, it will free you, and it will join you with Vaheguru. And the second thing, Keso Gopal Pandit Saddeho, the intricate, the spiritual meanings, Kesha Tari, Kesav Akal Purkh Vaheguru, the Puja Karnawala Pandit, so a great scholar, Unu Sad Karke Katha Padha Puran Jiyo, ਤੁਸੀਂ ਪੁਰਾਣਾ ਦੀ ਸੋ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਪੁਰਾਤਨ ਗੁਰਬਾਣੀ ਦੀ ਗੁਰ ਇਤਿਹਾਸ ਦੀ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਕਥਾ ਆ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਉਸ ਨੂੰ ਸਰਵਣ ਕਰਿਓ because there was a tradition in India of performing the katha of Garud Puran. Garud Puran was a mythological text that spoke about death, and it told the different heavens and hells that existed. Those heavens and hells exist for punni and papi, virtuous and sinner people. The rasta of Gursikhi is punni papi akhan nahe. We are not subjected to those heavens and hells. Kabir nark surg te meh raheo satgur ke prasad. Surg nark te meh raheo. I have become free of heaven and hell both through the grace of the true Guru. Kabir Sahib Ji tells us that in Gurbani. At Sri Guru Har Gobind Sahib Ji Maharaj Ji's time, there was a Pandit Nityanand Ji. And Pandit Nityanand Ji was performing the katha of one of the Vedic scriptures because the Sangat had keen interest to learn spirituality, and Sri Guru Har Gobind Sahib Ji Maharaj Ji provided for that you are allowed to listen to the sermon of other religions as long as you are grounded and instilled and embedded with Gursikhi and Gurmat. So Pandit Nityanand Ji began the katha of Garud Puran. And in Garud Puran, it narrates that it takes 1 year for a person to enter the afterlife, whether that is heaven or hell. Je maar ke gane jahe na kosa, har ka naam uha sang tosa, jahan pende maha and gubara, har ka naam sang ujiyara. In Sukhmani Sahib, it talks about a similar journey. But Sukhmani Sahib, the Guru's Bani, unites us with the truth, and it tells us that except for Naam, there is nothing that assists us on that path. Pandit Nityanand Ji told the Sikhs that were listening to that katha ki ek saal lagda, it takes 1 year to get there. As soon as the katha finished, the Sikhs came outside and they began conversing with one another. The first Sikh said to the second Sikh that Pandit Ji did say it takes a year, but with the Guru's grace I can arrive there in 4 pehars. A peher is roughly 3 hours. So in 12 hours I can get to this afterlife that he is talking about. The second Sikh said, Gursikh, Sadguru Sahib Ji has blessed me with such an avastha that I can reach the afterlife in 2 pehar. The third Sikh said that I can reach the afterlife in 1 pehar. Bhai Nihala Ji, who has been recorded as a Kathavachak at the time of Sri Guru Har Gobind Sahib Ji Maharaj, when Sri Guru Har Gobind Sahib Ji Maharaj Ji gave the 14 virtues of a listener and the 14 virtues of an orator, ਜਦੋਂ ਕਥਾ ਦੇ ਬਖਤਾ ਤੇ ਸਰੋਤਾ ਦੇ 14 ਗੁਣ ਸ੍ਰੀ ਗੁਰੂ ਹਰਗੋਬਿੰਦ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਜੀ ਮਹਾਰਾਜ ਜੀ ਨੇ ਬਖਸ਼ੇ, ਉਦੋਂ ਭਾਈ ਨਿਹਾਲਾ ਜੀ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਗੁਰਸਿੱਖਾਂ ਵਿੱਚੋਂ ਸੀ ਜਿਨ੍ਹਾਂ ਨੇ ਬੇਨਤੀ ਕੀਤੀ ਸੀ. ਭਾਈ ਨਿਹਾਲਾ ਜੀ said to the Gursikhs that with the Guru's kripa, it does not even take me 1 peher, I can get to the afterlife in the blink of an eye. And when Pandit Nityanand Ji, as he was walking out, he heard this. And he was very worried, he was troubled by this, because everything that he believed in, what he was preaching, what he was explaining to the world, to the universe, is that all flawed then? So he came to Sri Guru Har Gobind Sahib Ji Maharaj Ji and he did an ardas. Sache Patshahe, tell me, are the Veds, are the Purans, are they all false? Or are your Gursikhs lying? Because I have heard that Gursikhs do not lie, but I also believe the Veds to be true. Sri Guru Har Gobind Sahib Ji Maharaj Ji explained to him, Pandit Nityanand Ji, taking a year, these talks of heaven and hell, the path for the sinners is said to be very difficult. Oceans and rivers of fire have to be crossed to get to it. And for virtuous people, people that have been good, they are carried in chariots. They fly across the skies. And it is a very pleasurable journey for them, a very enjoyable journey for them. Sri Guru Har Gobind Sahib Ji Maharaj Ji said, Pandit Nityanand Ji, neither are the Veds lying, neither are the Purans lying, or neither are my Gursikhs lying. They are not able to lie. They are both telling the truth. Pandit Nityanand ji was confused. Is this a contradiction? कि ये आपस विच ये विचारधारा एक दूजे नाल टकराव खांदी, एक सच होवेगी एक झूठ होवेगी, ये हो किदां सकदा? सतगुरु श्री गुरु हरगोबिंद साहिब जी महाराज जी मीरी पीरी दे मालिक explained कि पंडित जी पुन्नी पापी आखण नाही. Your Veds only talk about people that are engaged in virtue and sin. Gursikhi is higher than that. Gursikhi does not believe in performing seva or charity to get any sort of reward. सेवा करते हुए निष्कामी. Here my Gursikhs, सेवा ते सिमरन करके वो निष्काम हो गया, and they unite with Vaheguru. They don't have to go through these paths. Pandit Nityanand ji did not believe all of this. Sri Guru Hargobind Sahib Ji Maharaj Ji said to him, stay here for some time, perform abhyas on Gur Mantar and Mool Mantar, and you will see for yourself. In 6 months' time, Pandit Nityanand ji came to Sri Guru Hargobind Sahib Ji Maharaj Ji's court and explained that through Gursikhi, through becoming your Sikh and doing abhyas of Gur Mantar and Mool Mantar, I too have attained that virtue. That is the position of Gursikh Sadh Sangat Ji. Gursikhs come and go in this world as per their own choice. Janam maran duhu mein nahi, jan par upakari aaye. That is the words of Sri Guru Arjan Dev Ji Maharaj Ji in Gurbani, and it refers to those great saints that become freed in their life. So one of the banis that we are encouraged to perform Katha of is Salok Sehaskrithee. Salok Sehaskrithee is a Gurbani that is recited by Shri Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj Ji, then Shri Guru Arjan Dev Ji Maharaj Ji. We will be performing the Katha of this Gurbani in the morning, and then in the evenings we will be performing Katha of jaitsree vaar. Both of these Gurbanis, as you will see, as you will hear the Katha, Gurbani is designed universally. At the beginning, I was doing a benti, Bani mukho chariye hoy roshnai mite andhyara. Gurbani enlightens. So when we're feeling dark and sorrowed, whatever the circumstances, however grave, however sorrowful that circumstance is, Gurbani is able to illuminate the path for us. So Salok Sehaskrithee, the 4 shabads that we are going to do vichar of today are recited by Tan Shri Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj Ji. Sadh Sangat Ji, Shri Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj Ji on their travels came to the city of Kashi. Babbe Tare Char Chak Naukhan Prithmi Sacha Toa. They visited all the places that were considered holy as places of pilgrimage in India and across the Arabian countries, Islamic countries. They went to Baghdad, they went to Mecca, Saudi Arabia, and so on, and Iraq. Shri Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj Ji came to Kashi. Kashi is a city in southern India. It is said to be the city of gods of Shivji. Hindus consider Kashi to be so pure and to be so blessed that they believe that if someone dies in Kashi, they are automatically sent to the heavens. Kabir Ji throughout their life lived in the city of Kashi. However, when they came to depart, they went to another area called Maghar, which is said to be cursed. Anyone that dies in Maghar is said to automatically be pushed into the cycle of life and death and has to spend some time in hell. But Kabir Sahib Ji, to show that no land is greater than the other in that sort of context, they went from Kashi to Maghar at the end of their life. Sri Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj Ji, when all the places of pilgrimage, Sare Tirth Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj Ji nu pukar desan, that people come to us and they pray and they have Ishnan in these rivers, in the Ganges, in the Yamuna, and they consider their sins to be washed away. And the places of pilgrimage, these holy shrines, if you could imagine in a metaphorical sense, that they were calling out, the spirit within them that was calling out, Suni Pukar Datar Prabh, Guru Nanak Jagmahe Pathaya. Shri Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj Ji came to the world and then went to all of these places of pilgrimage where people were practicing hypocrisy and people were practicing empty rituals, and went to redeem all of mankind. They arrive at Kashi, and then Sadh Sangat Ji, at Kashi, this Pavitra Gurbani is recited. Aao bade prem de naal man birtiyan nu ekagar kariye. If we all focus our minds, khyalan nu antarmukh kariye, te gaj ke aakho ji, Satnam Sri Vaheguru Sahib Ji. एक ओंकार सतनाम करता पुरख निर्भव निर्वैर अकाल मूरत जुनी सैभं गुर प्रसाद। सलोक सहस्कृति महला पहला पढ़ पुस्तक संध्या बादं। Shri Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj Ji arriving at Kashi, as soon as they arrive, it is the early morning. Bhai Mardana Ji, the lifelong accompaniment of Shri Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj Ji, Bhai Mardana Ji began Asa di Vaar, or the Shabads of Asa di Vaar that Shri Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj Ji had recited. And this Shabad, Pad Pustak Sandhya Badang, that comes in Asa di Vaar, Bhai Mardana Ji was doing Kirtan of this Shabad as per the instruction of Shri Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj Ji. And all the scholars of Kashi, they all come. They come and they had a habit that koi bhi Mahatma aave, any learned scholar or holy person comes, they come to them, they unna nal charcha kariye. We do a discussion, a debate of a sort. It was meaningless. It was a means because they were so educated that they considered anyone else that came from another city to be less educated as a way to humiliate them and to basically insult them and to show that they are more educated. Some of these scholars, however, Pandit Gopal Dutt Ji that came was very well versed, and he read a text called Pavikhat Puran. Pavikhat Puran is one of the main 18 Purans written by Rishi Vyas, the scribe, the writer of the Mahabharata epic. Obviously, these rishis and munis, these religions and faiths, they too did carry, or the people that wrote, or the people before the age of Kali Yuga, they did have some spiritual ability. Gurbani of Shri Guru Granth Sahib Ji Maharaj Ji and Shri Dasam Guru Granth Sahib Ji Maharaj explains and understands and accepts that. Many of these writers did have flaws in their life, but needless to say, they were very spiritually endowed. They spent their whole life meditating, performing yogic postures to become more spiritually powered, because that was the target of that time. Rishi Vyas, who wrote Pavikhat Puran thousands of years before Sri Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj Ji came on this earth, predicted their coming. In 11 saloks in Pavikhat Puran, Sri Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj Ji is named themselves. If you read the Japji Sahib, the Pehli Pothi, the Pehla Steek of Sri Guru Granth Sahib Ji Maharaj Ji, published by Sant Giani Kartar Singh Ji Khalsa Pindramwale, it writes out which saloks of Sri, in the virtue and the greatness of Sri Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj Ji, Rishi Vyas wrote thousands of years before in Pavikhat Puran. So these Pandit, these scholars, amongst them Pandit Gopal Dutt Ji came because he knew that Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj Ji was the incarnation of Kali Yuga. They were God themselves. So he came with that bhavna also. When they came to Sri Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj Ji, as per their habit, they said कि सच्चे पातशाह असी चर्चा करनी थोड़े नाल. We want to hold a discussion, a debate. We want to learn different things from you. Shri Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj Ji, everything they speak, जैसी में आवे खसम की बाणी, तैसड़ा करी ज्ञान वे लालो. Here there is only Turki Bani. Everything Sri Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj Ji says, Prabji Basah Sad ki Rasna. They do not need to engage in these meaningless debates. So Sri Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj Ji looked, and to the side of them there was a dog that was lying there dead. And they looked at that dog and they said, कि कुत्ते नु ये कह करके संबोधन कीता कि उठ, तेरा परिवार आया, तेरे पोते आए, आ तू इन्हां नाल चर्चा कर. That dog that was dead, when Sri Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj Ji said to that dog that come alive, come because your grandchildren have come and they wish to debate with you, they wish to ask you questions, stand up. At that time, that dead dog, it rose from the dead. It resurrected and then it began speaking. I know some of these kathas, they feel difficult to comprehend. But Sri Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj Ji's power, the way that they work, the miracles that constantly occurred, you can still see them at Panja Sahib, at Rita Sahib. Shri Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj Ji brought the dog alive, and they said to the Pandits, ask your questions. So the Pandits began one by one asking questions. and they asked difficult questions from the Vedas, the Purans, the Shastras, the Simritis, the Upanishads, any scripture that they could think of. And that dog was able, with quotes, with references, to narrate all of their answers. And they were all satisfied, but they were shocked. Pandit Gopal Dutt ji put his hands together. Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj ji, you are the incarnation in the age of Kaljug. Sabte Vadda Sadguru Nanak Jin Kal Rakhi Meri. You were prophesied to be the redeemer of mankind. But by having a dog debate with us, we feel insulted, we feel humiliated, we feel belittled. And why have you said to the dog that this is your grandchildren that have come to speak to you? ਤੁਸੀਂ ਇਦਾਂ ਕਿਉਂ ਕਿਹਾ ਕਿ ਇਹ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਪੋਤਰੇ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਮਿਲਣ ਵਾਸਤੇ ਆਏ ਆ? ਮਹਾਰਾਜ ਕਹਿਣ ਲੱਗੇ ਕੁੱਤੇ ਨੂੰ, they spoke to the dog, ਕਿ ਦੱਸ ਬਿਸ਼ਨ ਦੱਤ ਕਿ ਤੂੰ ਕੌਣ ਆ? Bishan Dutt was the name of the grandfather of Pandit Gopal Dutt ji. And then the dog, in the Bishan Dutt, who had become the dog, he spoke that I am your grandfather Bishan Dutt. I was a great scholar of my time. As you know, as you learn from my texts, I spent my whole life encouraging debates, and I went to many different debates, and any Mahatma that came to the city of Kashi, I would engage in debate with them. One Pajana Nandi, a person that was very spiritually elevated, but also very educated, they were performing Simran, and I kept disturbing them with my questions. And when I asked question after question after question, they said to me that stop asking me, because I'm engaged, I've become a sadhu, I've forsaken this world, I don't wish to engage in worldly debate. The only thing that I wish to do now is Simran. I said to him then, why did you get educated? What was the purpose of your education if you're not even going to talk to other scholars? Surely you are less educated and you are intimidated by me. At that sadhu became angered, and he cursed me that as I am barking like a dog, I will become a dog myself. And for that reason, Pandit Bishan Dutt, a great scholar of the city of Kashi, the grandfather of Pandit Gopal Dutt, he became a dog. And when all of the Pandits saw this, they folded their hands and they lied before Sri Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj Ji. They fell to the ground, they touched their feet, and they asked Sri Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj Ji, please bless us with your Updesh, please bless us with a teaching, so we too may be redeemed. Sad Sangat Ji, Sri Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj Ji then gave these 4 saloks. It is said that within the Gita there is a Sapsaloki Gita. The Gita has 18 chapters. It was recited by Krishna on the battlefield of Kurukshetra to his devotee and friend Arjun. Within that text, Sad Sangat Ji, there are 7 saloks that summarize that whole text. Kashmiri Pandits to this day, they perform Nitnem every single day of Sapsaloki Gita. So a lot of these Pandits had descent in Kashmir because they were considered as the best amongst scholars. So these Kashmiri Pandits that were now living in Kashi were joined, or they performed Sapsaloki Gita, the Nitnem every single day. Shri Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj Ji, Sapsaloki Gita means 7 chapters or 7 verses that summarize or carry the weight of all of the Gita. Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj Ji gave them these 4 shabads, which then became the Nitnem. So Salok Sehaskrithee Mahalla Pehla became the Nitnem for all of the Kashi di Sangat. So aao bade prem de naal ina 4 salokan di vichar aj sarvan kariye. Satguru Sache Paatshah Ji apni bani sunaya, Siddh Peer Surnath apni bani di samajh aap bakshan. ज्यों अंदले हथ टोहनी हर नाम हमारे ए बाणी आप प्रकाश करे सुनिया अंधे पावे राहो साडू अन्या नू राह मिले गुरबाणी दी पावन पवित्र विचार साडी रसना दे उपर बुद्धि दे विच आवे आओ बड़े प्रेम दे नाल सरवण करिए सतनाम श्री वाहिगुरु साहिब जीओ एक ओंकार सतनाम करता पुरख निर्भौ निर्वैर अकाल मूरत अजूनी सैभं गुर प्रसाद. Sad Sangat Ji, this is the Mangal. The Mangal is an invocation. The Mangal can be one of 4 types, but this Mangal is known as a Vastu Nirdeshak Mangal. Vastu means object, Nirdeshak means to specify. So within this Mangal, we are told what the subject of this Bani is. What is the God of Shri Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj Ji? Who is Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj Ji invoking, or who are they worshipping? So this Vastu Nirdeshit Mangal is from the Mool Mantra. It is not the complete Mool Mantra. The complete Mool Mantra finishes at Nanak Hosi Pi Sach and only appears once in Sri Guru Granth Sahib Ji Maharaj Ji. This mantra of Ik Oankar to Gur Prasad appears as a Mangal many times in Sri Guru Granth Sahib Ji Maharaj Ji. So the arth for this is Ik Oankar, Ik Advait Parmeshwar. There is one God. He is unmatched. He is unparalleled. Only He has the power to give us life, and only He has the power to take life away from us. No one has control over that one unparalleled Ik Advait Parmeshwar. Oankar, Saryan da Prakash Rishik, He is the enlightener of all. Sat, He is true in all three princes. He was Aad Sach, Jagad Sach, Happy Sach, Nanak Hosi Pi Sach. Naam karke prasidhya, everyone knows Him through His own Naam. Karta Purkha, O Mera Vaheguru, Sari Srishti da Kartaya, He is the creator of the whole universe. Te Purkha, He is complete in every facet, in every aspect. Nirpao, He is without fear. Nirvair, He is without hate. Akal, He is without the constraint of time. Murat, this is His form. Ajuni, He is never born. He is outside of the cycle of life and death. Sapang, He is self-illuminating. There is no other bigger entity that is powering Him. Gur Prasad, if anyone wants to unite with Him in Kali Yuga, then they should unite with Him through the grace of Sri Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj Ji. Salok Sehaskrithee Mahalla Pehla. These sloks are of Sri Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj Ji. Salok is a type of composition. Salok means swear lok. This is the intricate meaning. Our purpose in life is to unite with Vaheguru. Mantu Jod Sarup hai apna mool pishan. So a deeper meaning of Salok. Salok is a type of poetry, but swear lok, that which will take us back into our own form. Sehaskriti. Sehaskriti is the name of this Bani. Some people incorrectly pronounce it कि इस संस्कृत दे श्लोक या पर इस सहस्कृति दे श्लोक या. Sehaskriti is the language that is older even than Sanskrit. Sheshnag, a mythological being that is said to exist that has 1,000 heads. Hindus consider him to be a canopy on top of Vishnu. We also believe that all of these entities do exist. And at the time of Shri Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj Ji, and throughout our Guru's time, some of these entities came to serve Guru Sahib. For example, when Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj Ji is but a child and they are lying in the field, a snake comes to give them shade. And Sri Gur Pratap Suraj Granth and all of our spiritual interpretations of history explain to us that these were beings such as Sheshnag that came because he wished to serve the true master, Shri Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj Ji. Sehaskriti is the name given because Sheshnag is said to be a scholar, and he is constantly reciting new names of God because he has 1,000 heads, 1,000 tongues, and 1,000 minds. He is always reciting new names. So there are texts upon texts that are attributed to Sheshnag. The language that Sheshnag uses, that is known as Sanskrit Pasha. That is the name of Sanskrit, or a language even older than Sanskrit, known as Prakrit. Prakrit is the mother language to Sanskrit. Another deeper meaning to Sehaskriti is Sehas Hajara Mukha Hajara Vari Kriti Ustat Karande Yogya. Kirti is the name of Kirtan, of praising Vaheguru. Sehas is the name for 1,000. So even 1,000 of times, if you sing the virtues of this Bani, even then its virtue cannot completely be narrated. Mahalla Pehla, Shri Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj Ji is reciting this Bani. Pad Pustak Sandhya Badang. This slok also appears in Asa di Vaar. However, Shri Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj Ji here is narrating it to Pandit Gopal Dutt and all of the Pandits of Kashi. Pad Pustak Sandhya Badam. By reading all of these spiritual texts, by performing all the rituals according to time. Sandhya is the name of two time frames uniting. So Sandhya is when the day becomes the night, so that evening period in which Aarti is done. During the day, there is also a Sandhya in the afternoon, and then at Amrit Vela, when the night becomes day, that is also a different period of Sandhya. These Brahmins had rituals for each of these Sandhya periods. They were very strict in their worship in this way. In the afternoon Sandhya was when they would put water into the river and they would offer it to the sun god for their forefathers. Shri Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj in this first Shabad are criticizing ritual hypocrisy. Pakhand da khandan ho raha hai. Pad pustak Sandhya Badan. If by learning lots of knowledge, because learning knowledge, man sabjavan karane kachuk padiye gyan. The only purpose of reading and becoming scholarly and knowledgeable is to teach your own mind. The purpose of all gyan, of all granths, is humility. If by reading all of these granths you cannot attain humility, then you haven't achieved anything. If you imagine a cow for example, it's like putting more hay, more grass for that cow. You're only adding to your own ego. You're only adding fuel to the fire. Pad pustak sandhya badan. Pustaka nu pad ke te sandhya karke tusi hale vi badan. You wish to debate. Is that the purpose of your life? Sil pujas bagalas madang. And you sit in front of your sil pujas. You worship stone. You worship the shalgram. The shalgram was a black stone which is found towards northern India or in Nepal from the river Gandaka, where this black stone is found. That black stone often has a white line on it, and the Hindus consider that stone to be the form of Vishnu, and that white line that is on the stone, that marking that is naturally occurring, they believe that to be the Janeyu, the thread, the cotton thread on Vishnu's chest. There is a story behind that. Vishnu was actually cursed because he slept with another man's wife. Jalandhar was a demon. His wife, who was very faithful to him, through the virtue of her wifely dharam, she was able to protect her husband from any calamity. Jalandhar was the enemy of the demigods, and Vishnu went to fight with Jalandhar. However, Jalandhar could not be defeated. Then Vishnu impersonated, he took the form of Jalandhar, and he went and essentially slept with another man's wife. When Brinda Rakshashni, the wife of Jalandhar, found that out, she cursed Vishnu that you should become a black stone. You are not a god, but you are a black stone. From that day onwards, when Vishnu was then cursed and he took the form of a black stone, Hindus worshipped him as a shalgram. Shalgram is mentioned in the Gurbani of Sri Guru Granth Sahib Ji Maharaj Ji. Shiv Ling, the genitals of Shivji, are also worshipped in the form of a stone. Sri Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj Ji is condemning this hypocritical ritual worship of stones. Sil pujas bagal samadang. Bagal samadang. Bagal is a bird. I believe it is the crane. The crane is a bird that is white as a swan. But a swan is traditionally thought to have very pure diet. It only eats things that are very clean. However, the crane, this bird, the bagala, it acts like a swan. It closes its eyes and it sits on the river banks and it's very white and beautiful. But it waits for a fish, a frog, anything to come out of the river, and then it goes and it kills and it eats that. Bagal di samadhi laundaya. It closes its eyes, and then when the time is right, it goes for the hunt. So what Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj is saying is that if you consider these stones to be your gods, then they are manifest and present in front of you. Then why, to fool other people, do you close your eyes? When your God is in front of you, why do you need to close your eyes? In Dasam Guru Granth Sahib Ji Maharaj Ji, Shri Guru Gobind Singh Sahib Ji Maharaj Ji has also criticized that by closing your eyes, you're not really achieving anything except for mimicking the blind. that's all you're doing. If, on the other hand, by closing your eyes, it's helping you focus, you're worshipping Akal Purkh Vaheguru and you're actually contemplating, that's a different thing. But people that are falling asleep close their eyes. People that wish to fool other people, even in Sangat sometimes people close their eyes to make an effect on other people. Kaha pe ho jo lochan in Savaiye Bani, we read every day that you close both of your eyes, but what purpose does that serve? Kaha pe ho jo lochan do moond ke baith rahe ho bak dhyan lagayo. That is the pangti that comes in the Savaiye in the Nitnem Bani. कि अपनी दोनों अखा तू मीट करके बगले वांग समाधि लाउंदा सिल पूजस बगल समाधन मुख झूठ पे भूखण सारंग. And from your mouth you lie, even though you read all of these scriptures and you perform a ritual worship, you continue to lie. Pe bhukhan sarang. But what you do with your lies is you decorate them so much that you turn them into gold, you turn them into the truth. Things that are not true, places that you have not been, through your sermons and through the way that you speak to people, you act holy and you tell people that this is what the Dasam Dwar is, this is what heaven is, this is what hell is. But really you've not experienced all of that. All you have is textbook knowledge. Fir darog pad pad khushi hoye, ve khabar baad bakahe. Kabir Sahib Ji tells us that people are only lying. They talk about 72 virgins in the heaven, that's what Muslims do. But really, if someone was to have relationships with 72 women, would that make them happy? So what is the need for all of this falsehood on planet Earth? Why do religious people go out and tell these lies to people to fool them? So mukchut bhukhan sarang. And what you do is you turn your lies like fake jewelry, like metal, brass jewelry, can be coated to appear like gold. That's what you do with your lies. Bhukhan is the name for jewelry. Sarang. Trepal tihal bicharang. Do not forget, Trepal, Tinna Lokanu Palan Wala, that Vaheguru that sustains the world beneath us, this world and the skies as well. That Vaheguru that sustains the whole universe. Tihal, tere hal nu, what you're actually like, bicharang, oh, usti bichar karda hai, he is contemplating, he is judging, he is watching you, he is nere to nere, prab ner hu te nere, he is nearer than you can imagine. Trepal te hal bicharang. Tinne pala de vich, past, present and future, he is looking at you and he can do vichar of you. Galmala tilakal latam. In your neck you carry a mala, Rudraksh mala, you carry a beaded wooden, you carry an ivory, you carry a mala of pearls, and on your head you have tilakalilatang, you have placed a tilak, you have placed markings on your body. Doe toti bastra kapatam, and you wear 2 totis on your waist, bastra kapatam, you cover your head. What they believed was that the Dasam Dwar, when a person is meditating, that puts a lot of pressure, it causes a lot of heat in the forehead, in the Dasam Dwar. So they would wet a cloth, they would fold it 8 times, an 8-fold cloth, and they would place it on their heads. That's what Brahmins would do, and they would place that on their head, ki garmi na pe jave. Gar mala tilk lalatan, jiri tu mala gal de vich paiya, Kabir meri simrani rasna upar Ram. Your simran should be so parpak that your body, your mind itself becomes a mala. And tilak lilatan, you place this marking, this red dot, this red mark on your forehead. Your relationship, your oneness with God, o tilak lilat prab ek, o tilak tu mathe upar launa ya, doe toti bastar kapatang. So these totis that you wear, make them of sharam and taram. Te bastar kapatin. On top of your head you place this cloth to soothe yourself, because you believe that the meditation that you do is going to cause damage, or it can cause damage. But do you not understand that the name of God in itself इस चंदन चंदना सर्द रुत मूल न मिटई काम शीतल थीवे नानका जपंदड़ो हर नाम. The serenity of Simran, the way that the Guru has ordained, brings coolness in itself. There is no need for these cloths that are soaked with oils and soothing and water and cold water to cool the mind down. Jo janas brahman karman. Those people that actually are true in their faith, that worship one Akal Purkh Vaheguru, that know the belief and are instilled with belief of Vaheguru. Sab fokat nischay karman. They know all of these rituals to be hollow. Natak chetak kiye kukaja. Prabhalogan kohavat laja. They see all of these things that you are doing as fokat, without purpose, as empty. Karma dharma pakhand jo disay tis jam jagati luta. All of these things that are empty without love of Vaheguru, they are taken away at the point of death. They carry no weight. Sab fokat nischay karmang. Kaho nanak nischay tyave. Shri Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj Ji says, Jira nischay de naal, with complete belief, he worships, bin satgur baat na paave. And with that worship too, worship in itself is not ever complete. To learn driving, you need a driving instructor. Any skill, to have mastery over that skill, you need to take upon a teacher. Anything that is self-taught is limited. हर चीज वास्ते उस्ताद धारन दी लोड़ है. बेशक वो संगीत है, बेशक वो भाषा है, बेशक वो किसी भी तरह का ज्ञान है. रोटी बनाने वास्ते बच्ची नू मां नू उस्ताद धारना पैंदा है. बिन सतगुर बाट ना पावे कहो नानक निश्चय ध्यावै. Whoever worships, Sri Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj Ji says, their worship becomes complete when they adorn themselves, when they take a Sadguru, they take Sri Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj Ji as their Guru. Bin Satguru Bhat na pave, without Sadguru Sahib Ji, that journey never comes to an end. Jeh mara ke gane jahe na kosa, har ka naam uha sang tosa. Without taking naam from Guru Sahib Ji in the roop of Panj Pyare, that journey of death never comes to an end. Nehfalang tas janmas javad brahmana bindate. So the second salok begins. In the first salok, Maharaji criticized the hypocrisy of ritual worship. In the second salok, they would tell us the oneness of Akal Purkh Vaheguru and God Himself. Nehfalang tas janmas. His life, janmas, Uda janma hai nihfalang, is without purpose, it is empty, it is meaningless. Javad brahmana bindate, that person that has not made an effort to know God, to know his own soul, that person that has not united with Vaheguru, that person's life is meaningless. Sagarang sansaras gur prasadi tarhe ke. And Guru Sahib Ji, to emphasize that Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj Ji, Nanak Sudh Simrat Ved, Par Brahm Gur Nahi Ped, that there is no difference between Guru and Akal Purkh Vaheguru. They tell us, Sagarang Sansaras, the world is an ocean. It is very terrifying as an ocean. And in this ocean, we've created another ocean of our own imperfections. Jita Samund Sagar Baniya, Tete Ogun Hamare. Sagarang Sansaras, if anyone wishes to ferry across this world ocean, Gur Parashadi Tarhe Ke, Guru Sahib Ji di Kirpa de Nal Tar Sakda. Through being dedicated to Gurmat, through be dedicating to the mission of Sri Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj Ji, to light every house, Kar Kar Andar Dharmsal ho, Kirtan Sada Visuva. Karan Karan Samrath hai, Kaho Nanak Bichar. Vaheguru and the Guru are Karan Karan Samrath hai, Dandaut Bandan Ankabar, Sarva Kala Samrath. They are the cause behind everything. They can cause anything to exist. Kaho Nanak Bichar. Shri Guru Arjan Dev Ji Maharaj Ji, Shri Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj Ji gives this vichar. Karan karte vas hai, jin kal rakhi tar. and all of the purposes of life, the reason for all of this universe coming into formation, the reason behind life and death, O Karte, the Creator God, and Sri Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj Ji, the Guru, has kept that within themselves. Jin kal rakhi tar, they have in this world put their power, their energy, their Shakti, their Kala in all of this universe. When we perform Ardas, we use a term, Kala Vaheguru Ji ki varte. That energy of Vaheguru, that power of Vaheguru, may it permeate, may it resound in all of the universe. May that power work through all of us Gursikhs. Sri Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj Ji in the second Shabad tell us, Karan karte vas hai, jin kal rakhi tar. Jinnah ne is dunya de vich apni kala, apni shakti, they have hidden their power within this universe itself. So in this second Shabad, Sri Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj Ji have told the oneness of the Guru and Akal Purkh Vaheguru. In the third Shabad, they tell us the purpose of human life, the duties that we all have. Jog sabdang, Gyan sabdang, Ved sabdang, tam Brahman hai. Maharaj Sahib Ji is asked by the Brahmins that we have read the Manusmriti. And in the Manusmriti, different duties are ordained for different castes. Castes in the history of India, they are attributed to any vocation, any job. If you are a carpenter, you are known as a mistri or a tarkhan. If you are a farmer, you are known as a jat. This is how originally these castes came about. Manusmriti listed that all of mankind should be split into 4 parts. There should be Brahmins. Brahmins have the task of educating and learning. Kshatris have a task of defending. Vaishya have the task of being business people and contributing towards the economy. And Shudras have to engage in social service, in cleaning work and other such work that was considered lowly at the time. That was the system. And the Brahmins that had come to Sri Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj Ji, they requested that Sache Pasha Ji tell us about caste. Tell us about the different purposes of caste. Tell us what our purpose in life is. So Sri Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj Ji, first of all, they tell the Brahmins what it was already ordained in history. And then after that, they tell the Brahmins what the purpose, the actual purpose, the Sanja purpose, the united and universal purpose of life is for everyone. Jog sabdang, Gyana sabdang, Ved sabdang, tam Brahmana hai. First of all, even before the castes, Sri Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj Ji talks about the Khat Darshan. Jogi Jangam Srevade, Sannyasi Darvesh, Shema Jama Vipraka. So, is tarike de naal is she, Jogi, Jangam, Srevade, Darvesh, all of these different groups, they all consider themselves as ascetics, as holy people, but they worshipped in slightly different ways. There were 6 groups of worshippers: the Jogis, the Jangams, the Srevades. Srevade is another name for Jainis, and the 6th type was Brahmins. So Sri Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj Ji corrects the Brahmins that you're talking about caste. Even you in the Brahmins are split into 6 different parts. So Jog Sabdang, Jogi Jedeya and the She, the Khat Darshan, the purpose of life for them is Sabdang here means Dharam. Dharam here means purpose, their righteous duty. Jog Sabdang, Gyana Sabdang. The second meaning of Sabdang in this Shabad is Upadesh. So in one context it will mean duty, and in the other purpose or in the other meaning it will mean teaching. Jog Sabdang for yogis, the duty for them, the Sabdang, the Dharam for them is Gyan Sabdang. That is to take knowledge. The purpose of yoga is Yogas Chitta Vriddhi Nirodha. Patanjali Yoga Shastra tells us that the purpose of yoga is to focus the mind. So through attaining knowledge, then you focus, you contemplate on your own form. That is the purpose of the yogis. Ved Sabdang Tam Brahmana. And for the Brahmins exclusively, the purpose that was ordained for them was to learn from the Vedas. Because at that time, the Brahmins had the duties of reading and teaching the Vedas, educating and becoming educated in the Vedas, taking donations and giving donations, and also cooking. These were all vocations of Brahmins at the time of Guru Nanak Dev Ji. So Maharaj says that for Brahmins it was ordained that they are to become educated in Ved. Khatri sabdang sur sabdang sudra sabdang parakrit hai. For Khatri sabdang sur sabdang. Khatriyan de vaste, for the Kshatris, the duty for them was sur sabdang. It was to become warriors, to take Shastra Vidya. Originally, God ordained for mankind to have all of these four facets, for man to be a scholar, to be a warrior, to become a businessman, or to engage in employment of some sort, and also to become a social worker, to help all of mankind and to serve everyone. And that's why Sri Guru Gobind Singh Sahib Ji Maharaj Ji finished the caste system, and they turned the Khalsa into a saint soldier. The saint soldier that was a scholar like Kavi Santokh Singh Ji, that was a warrior like Baba Deep Singh Sahib Ji, that engaged in trade like countless Gursikhs do Dasa Naha di Kirt, and they are very successful in their livelihood. And Parakrita hai, the purpose of Shudras to serve other people. Cleaning people's shoes, for example, was a duty of Shudras. And Sri Guru Gobind Singh Sahib Ji, or Gursikhi as a whole, turned Gursikhs. They brought that humility inside of them, that we happily go to the Gurdwara Sahib and we clean the Sangat's Jode. So, Khatri Sabdang Sur Sabdang. For Kshatris, the purpose of life is to become warriors. Sudra Sabdang Parakrit hai. And for Shudras, the duty for them was Parakrit hai, to serve others. And within this Pangati, also the fourth caste of Vaishya is also mentioned, Parakrita hai, or Par Vishesh karke, especially they engage in Krita hai, in different jobs. Kite Krita hai, Krishani kar deya, kite Dukandari kar deya. That all is in the Vaishya caste. This was the system before Shri Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj Ji came on this world. Then Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj Ji, Khatri, Brahman, Sood, Vaishya, Udare Simar Chandal, Jin Janya Prabhapana, Nanak Tisaraval, they give a universal message. Khatri, Brahman, Sood, Vaishya, Updesh Chaun Varna ko Sanja, Sarp Sabdang ta Ek Sabdang, Je ko Janas Peo. The universal duty for everyone is ta Ek Sabdang, is to join with the one Shabad, to join with the one teaching of the Guru. Je ko janas peo, through which one can know the purpose of life. That secret that was used by religious people to put a separation between the soul and between God, between us and Vaheguru, that veil can be lifted. Nanak taku das hai, soi niranjan deo. If you notice in this part, in other parts of Sri Guru Granth Sahib Ji Maharaj, in Majrag, in Asadivar, the Shabad is different. Nanak ta ka das hai. Ithe likhya hai Nanak ta ko das hai. So the purpose of Nanak ta ko das, the meaning changes. Sri Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj Ji says, whereas in the previous parts of Gurbani they said Ta Ka Das Hai, that we are a servant of Vaheguru. Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj Ji is giving a separate message here. Nanak Ta Ko Das Hai. Who is the servant? Because Soi Niranjan Deo. A complete Gursikh unites with Vaheguru. Har har jandui ek hai, bib vichar kich nahe. Jalate upaj tarang jo jal hi bhike samahe. Nanak ta ko das hai. Who is the servant here? Vah Vah Gobind Singh ape gur chela. Sikh Panchan mein mero vasa. What is the difference between the Khalsa and between the Guru himself? Nanak ta ko das hai. Fir das reh kaun janda, soi niranjan deo. That person that takes the ek sabdam je ko janas peo, that person becomes the form of God himself. Ek Krishnanta Sarva Deva, Dev Devata Atma hai. There is one. Krishnan is the name of Puma Swarup Brahma. Puma means the earth, because from the earth everything grows out. So Vaheguru is the foundation of everything, from whom Sarva Deva, of all the other incarnations that you consider, Brahma, Vishnu, Shivji, they are all under the control, the hukam of Akal Purkh Vaheguru. So what is the purpose of worshipping, you could say, the foremans of the factory or the workers of the factory, when you have the owner of this universal factory itself, God? Ek Krishnanta Sarva Deva, Deva Devata Atma. That God is the enlightener. He is the light behind all of the other lights in the world. Because the Hindus considered the sun to be a god, the moon to be a god, the stars to be a god. And Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj Ji in this Bani are saying, Dev Devata Atma hai. That soul that is inside of you is the form of Vaheguru. That soul which is causing your body, which is made of earth, of mud, which is like a puppet, is being functioned. The battery inside of it, the energy source, is the Atma, God itself. That same God is lightning. He is the light that is the light of the sun. He is the light that is in the moon. He is the light that is in all of us in the form of the soul. Atmang Sri Vasudevas Je koi janas pev. Sadhguru Sahib Ji saying that soul is Akal Purkh Vaheguru itself. Do not consider your soul to be separate. Your soul is purer than pure. Sri Vasudevas. Your soul is that same God ਜਿਹੜਾ ਸਾਰੇ ਵਿਆਪਕ ਵਸ ਰਿਹਾ ਆ, ਜਿਹੜਾ ਘਣ ਘਣ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਉਹ ਵਿਆਪਕ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ, that is in walls, that is in the sky, that is in the ground, that is in every pore, Gurmukh Rom Rom Har Tyave, that is in every follicle of the body. That Vaheguru that people are looking externally, that Vaheguru is inside of you as the Atma. Je koi janas pev. When that Brahm Giani attains this truth, this self-realization, this enlightenment, Nanak ta ko das hai, soi niranjan dev. Sri Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj Ji says, fir ki das reh janda? Who is then the servant and who is the master? There is no difference then between the Atma and Paramatma. Jeev ta is. Jeev ta is. Jeev means our soul. Is means Ishwar, God. There was a type of thought in India at the time that considered our soul to be separate, that it could never merge with Akal Purkh Vaheguru, that it is fashioned of completely different. Gurbani does not agree with this. Gurbani believes that the soul was fashioned is the light of Akal Purkh Vaheguru himself. However, through Maya, we've forgotten the Sarup of our own Atma. We've forgotten who we are. Liv chudki lagi trisna, Maya amar vartaya. Maya has put its amar, its hukam on all of us. So we can't see, as the scriptures tell us, Bimbeh pulle ho apan pao tam gun ke adhikar. Through tamogun, through darkness, we've forgotten that we are actually the form of the soul. And Sadhguru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj Ji in this Shabad is telling us, Atmang Sri Vasudevas. Our Atma, our soul, is the form of Akal Purkh Vaheguru. So why don't we make effort to unite with it? Je koi janas pev, Nanak tako das hai, soi niranjan dev. Sri Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj Ji says they are a servant forever. Dasa devi dasya, us Brahm Gyani de. And Nanak ta ko das hai, then who is the servant? Because the servant and the master becomes one when that soul of a Gursikh merges with Akal Purkh Vaheguru. So this is the vichar of the Shabads of Salok Sehaskrithee. From tomorrow onwards we will begin Salok Sehaskrithee Mahalla Panjama, Shri Guru Arjan Dev Ji Maharaj Ji Di Bani. Whilst performing this Katha in English, I'm sure I've not made one but many mistakes. As you all know, it was only yesterday afternoon, the early evening, that we found about the demise of Bhai Jagraj Singh Ji. So it was a fortnight between the Gursikhs of the S2I team, that Bhai Jagraj Singh ji, who performed a lot of seva for the Khalsa Panth, and they had a very clear and strong vision and were very committed to it in the seva that they did, that we take on this seva for all of the Sangat as per the tradition, the Maryada of the Khalsa. Guru Gobind Singh Sahib Ji Maharaj Ji made us into a separate nation. Shri Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj Ji Marya Sikha Jagat Vich Nanak Nirmal Panth Chalaya. The Khalsa has its own ways and traditions, and one of those traditions is to perform the Katha of Salok Sehaskrithee in the mornings and of jaitsree vaar in the evenings. So we have performed, or I have performed this Katha with a lot of preparation. So Satguru Sahib Ji, please bless us and forgive us, and all of the Sangat forgive us, and pray for me that I am forgiven for all the mistakes that I have made, and we are able to complete the Katha of this Gurbani. Sabte Uttam Har Ki Katha, Naam Sunat Dard Luk Latha. May Sadguru Garib Nawaz bless us all, and they give Shanti to the soul of Bhai Jagraj Singh Ji, and that they also give the ability to all of the family to accept this Parna, and that all of the Sangat also accept this Parna of Bhai Jagraj Singh Ji departing from this world. So itniyan beintiyan, itni haziri aap ji ne pravan karni, bol diyan ek ne anant prakar diyan bhullaं galtiyan ho giyan hongiyan, अनजान बच्चे समझ करके क्षमा करनी। दो पंक्तियां पढ़ करके समाप्ति जी। एक कृष्णता सर्व देवा, देव देवा ता आत्म है, आत्मं श्री वासुदेवस, जे कोई जान सुपेव, नानक ता को दास है, सोई निरंजन देव। वाहिगुरु जी का खालसा, वाहिगुरु जी की फतेह।